What's happening, guys? It's me, Drew, aka The Green Arrow, and this is my new introduction to Arrow Season 5.
My name is Oliver Queen. For 5 years, I was stranded on an island with only one goal: survive.
Oliver Queen is alive.
Now I will fulfill my father's dying wish to use the list of names he left me and bring down those who are poisoning my soul. To do this, I must become someone else. I must become something else.
What's happening, guys? It's me, Drew, aka The Green Arrow, and today is going to be my review on that Arrow. So let's get into it. Basically, this week was built around trust. So you had the flashbacks and you had Ollie in normal day. So as we know, Wild Dog basically messed up during this episode big time. Like, he took him and Artemis and they basically went on this like recce operation. And they were supposed to spot it and go, but what ended up in happening was Wild Dog ended up in wanting to spot it, then take him down. So the villain for this episode was Cody Rhodes. So if anyone knows Stardust from the WWE, that's who he was. He was Stardust from the WWE. So basically what ended up in happening is Wild Dog and him end up in having a fight, and he ends up in taking a bath. Quite like the Joker took a bath to turn himself into the Joker. Cody Rhodes' character ended up dropping into this vat of Stardust, and it basically turned him into this superhuman, powerful guy who basically couldn't feel no pain at all. But I'll get to that point in just a minute. So then we had the flashbacks from Russia, and it was basically Oliver going through the same thing: trust. Would he trust his Bradford brothers not to kill him? Because that is what it was. It was all about trust this time. And he had to trust that they wouldn't kill him. So they had 5 knives, and each of them took a knife. And the point was Oliver was to stand there and basically have them slice his back one by one and hope that they wouldn't kill him. So obviously Ollie being Ollie was questioning him and saying, but why is this necessary? And the guy basically said, listen, to be a Bratva, you have to have trust in your brothers, and you have to have trust that they're going to do the right thing at the right time. And they basically convinced him, he convinced him basically to stand there, and he had to go through this ritual. So like I said, each of them had 5 knives. They took the knives, and by one, they went and they scored his back, one by one. So then he stood there and each of them did it. And by the end of it, it was he dead or was he alive kind of thing. But obviously, he was going to survive this. And it was the training that they needed him to go through as trust. So he would put his trust into them. So he would know that at any point, through any operation, any mission, then they would be there to have his back 100%. So they would basically die for him. And this is what Oliver had to do. He had to trust that they wouldn't kill him and that they're there for him. So then going back to the team, you had obviously Team Arrow. He's created a new Team Arrow. So we had a new Team Arrow, and it consists obviously Artemis, Ragman, Mr. Terrific, and Wild Dog. And like I said, Wild Dog created this Cody Rhodes character by not listening to Oliver when Oliver basically said, don't go. And Oliver come to a realization after the Cody Rhodes superhuman character was built. He came to a realization that he should have actually listened to him instead of not listening to him. Because by listening to him and trusting him a bit more, they could have stopped the Cody Rhodes' character selling the Stardust a lot quicker. So Oliver kind of apologized to him, and that's when they kind of brought the team together and they went after Cody Rhodes. So the first time you see the Green Arrow go up against Stardust was when they were at the hospital. They had a basic fight. He fired an arrow, it went straight into his shoulder, and he basically walks forward and rips it out. So he comes completely forward, which is a bit gross. That's just a bit nasty. If you get an arrow fired in you, you don't expect someone to walk it out. And he couldn't feel no pain. So then they had a little fight, and he basically choked him out. And Ollie uses a trick arrow and makes the fuse box across the way explode, and he gets away. So that was the first time they were basically introduced to each other. Forwarded on, they meet again in a like a warehouse kind of place, and this is where Oliver had to have trust in his team, that his team would do the right thing at the right time, and they would have his back no matter what. So obviously you had Artemis, Ragman, Mr. Terrific and Wild Dog, and each of them had a set thing to do. So Mr. Terrific's job was basically to get to certain points and plant explosions, so then the whole place basically went up in smoke. And you know, you had Wild Dog, who was there to control the crowd and keep them away from Oliver. And then you had Ragman, who was pretty much doing the same thing, keeping everyone away from like Artemis and stuff. And you had Artemis, who was obviously assisting Mr. T. And it was good. They all had their own little missions and everything else. It was mainly focused on Curtis, who was the guy who's going around blowing this stuff up. But you know, Green Arrow and Stardust were having a fight, and this time he knew that he couldn't actually take him down. So what he decided to do, instead of take him down, he cut every single tendon on his body. So he was basically like a little ragdoll, and he couldn't move. You know, he was saying, what do you think that's going to stop me? And Green Arrow was like, listen, it may not stop you, but I know that everyone needs their tendons, so you ain't going nowhere. He tried to get up and he couldn't go nowhere. And he said, this is the one thing that I have in my team, that my team have my back. And as he walked away, you just see it all explode around him, which was pretty cool, man. You got to see that explosion and everything else. You also got to see a new character who hasn't been introduced as that character, but he's the new district attorney, and he is the vigilante. If anyone remembers when they were going through the lineup, when Felicity was going through the lineup of who Oliver should pick, the vigilante's picture was actually there, and he was one of the people there. And the new district attorney who's just come into it, he is the vigilante. So he's going to be kind of a thorn in Oliver's side, but not as well, because like, he's kind of a good guy, but bad guy. He's a Punisher kind of person. He's neither good nor bad. He does a lot of dodgy things, but he tries to get justice. So we've got a Punisher kind of person coming into it, which is going to be pretty cool to see. You know, obviously we've still got Tobias Church in the mix as well. We've got, who else have we got? We've got Prometheus. So we don't actually know who he's going to be, who Prometheus potentially is at the moment. We've got assumptions. It could be Felicity's new boyfriend. It could be Tommy Merlin. It could be it could be like countless of people, but it is going to be one of those people. It's going to be Tommy Merlin, or it's going to be Felicity's boyfriend. They're my two people who I believe it's going to be. But on top of that, we had Speedy as well. Like, she kind of like created a mess. Obviously, we know that she was hiring Quentin Lance as a deputy mayor. And she kind of told the wrong person, and they kind of leaked it, so the whole media system had it, and the whole world knew. And Oliver at the beginning wasn't happy about it. He was like, well, wait a minute, this ain't good for me. Like, it's real bad publicity. And Speedy basically said, you know what, I'll take full responsibility for it. I'll hand you my resignation. I'll leave. You know, you ain't got to take the fallout from this. I'll take all of it, and that's what I do. So Oliver basically said no. What I'm going to do is because he realised throughout the episode that he needs to take responsibility for his team. So he basically had a little speech, and the speech basically revolved around him saying that, you know, I knew Quentin Lance was going to be hired. I'm standing behind this decision 100%. Yeah, he may be a drunk, but he was a drunk for a reason. I have faith in him. He's going to be the guy that's going to be my right-hand man. Quentin Lance comes walking in and they shake hands. And he said, I trust my team, which was a shout-out to his actual new team that he basically created. That they'd have his back, they would do the right thing, and if they made mistakes, he would stand up because he was the boss. You know, he was the leader, and he would say, listen, my fault, I take full responsibility for it. And that's how a leader should be. So I was glad to see him actually give that part and actually say, yeah, I am going to take responsibility for what happens in Starling City, and I'm going to take responsibility for what happens as Green Arrow. So that was amazing to see. He's stepping up to the scene. We also got a little bit of dialogue between Felicity and Ragman. Basically, Felicity blew up Ragman's hometown, killed his family, friends, everything. And Ragman's basically been looking for like Damien Dark because he believes it was him. But obviously Felicity's told him now. And it was one of these things, is he going to kill Felicity or is he not going to kill Felicity? Obviously he's not going to kill Felicity, but Felicity was scared that he was going to kill her. But it's like Curtis says, sometimes you've got to be honest with him because that way there he gets time to digest it. And that's what she's done. She's told him next week it's going to be some atmosphere between them, obviously, but I'm hoping it's going to get aired out pretty soon. But in a whole, I think Arrow is improving massively, like massively improving. There's no like form of it as it was last season, which was really rubbish, boring. It was annoying me. This season's really good. It's entertaining me. There's certain things obviously that I'm focusing on more than other things because I don't see the point of bringing everything which is irrelevant to it. So I might as well just bring you the main things. But as always, guys, if you want to talk a little bit more about it, stick it in the comment section down below and we can get talking. If you're new to the channel, guys, then hit that subscribe button to keep you informed of all things Arrow. The reason why like these have been staggered recently is because I've had other things to do on top of doing these reviews for you. Slight things might be changing pretty soon, but you'll still get the same kind of like reviews from myself, and you know I'm looking to bring someone in to do reviews on another show. When I get that in, I will let you guys know who it is. But as always, guys, I'm your host Drew, aka the Green Arrow. Straight shooting people.